Let us hope that it will record. Okay, looks like we are recording. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for your time this evening and your attention. It's a very, very good time to be learning about what I'm going to be sharing tonight. My name is Alix Sabatelli Rager, and I've been in health and nutrition and fitness and really biotech and biohacking and business and all kinds of things for a very long time, decades in fact. I'm very passionate about the subject, and I'm really excited to be living in an age where we actually can affect so much of the body so much more quickly and reset so many parts of the way things are functioning and get a lot more out of life. And quite frankly, what my juice, what I'm all about is just helping people to step into their highest potential. And what I found over the years, moving from the body to working with mindset and coaching, and then finding purpose in life and business coaching and all of these things that kind of bring this alignment together, is that people were getting more and more tired and more sick and more broke, unfortunately, and their lives were starting to kind of close in, and they didn't have access to the highest potential, even really great thinking thoughts, because of the way their body was functioning and feeling. Not enough energy coming from the cell, illness, and so on. And I had my own kind of wake-up call with a slow, I wouldn't say full-on decline, given that I really do try to practice what I preach. Over a period of time, I made just some small little choices that kind of took me off target. And I had my little moment of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be 50. This was a year and a half ago. And I said, I don't love the way I'm looking. I think I could feel better. And quite frankly, I finally figured out what's going, like all the healing in my life. I feel like I'm wise and ready to take on the world. And I would like to live a really long, healthy life. And because I want to live to 100 or more, I would like to slow down that aging process as well. So I want to feel good and impart that wisdom that took a half of a lifetime to get, right? So that's a big driver for me as well. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about me so you have a sense of what I'm about. So what we're going to talk about here tonight is a product. And I'm going to give you quite a bit of education. I'm going to tell you right now, and Sam, if you wouldn't mind being my kind of little partner here, if you can type into the chat, startx39.com. This is a website I want for you to write down and know about if you don't already. This presentation, or the bulk of it, is presented in 18 minutes by our founder, CEO, and inventor of what we're talking about today. In 18 minutes, beautifully done. So if you just want the education about what's in it for you, what are you going to get from this, I will be going through it, but I'm going to be doing some more teaching. And, I kept saying I'll do this in 30 minutes, but quite frankly, I cannot just do this in 30 minutes. I want to add this more value so you really understand the impact of this. There's a lot of products out there. There's going to be a lot of home-based, people coming at you with ways to try to help strengthen your immune system and all these things during this really, really interesting time. And the assaults that are coming at us right now. So I think empowerment comes with education, and I want you to make empowered decisions about your health right now. And I care about your pocketbook as much, or wallets, as much as I do your health. So, I want you to be wise at this time and do what's right for you. And so again, education is key. So, so thank you again for your attention. I will not go over an hour, I promise. I'll try to actually keep it as close to maybe, I'll try. I always try for 30, but it'll probably be more like 45 minutes. Okay, so thank you for that. So we're talking about X39 as the core product, and this is the reason why, this is kind of what's brought me to do these Zooms so often. And what they are stem cell activating phototherapy patches, and I'm going to share exactly how they work and how simple they are. But again, a bit more of the concept around this topic. And so stem cell activation, what's that about, and how is that going to help you, and what's the deal? So I'm going to share my screen, and I've got this nice PowerPoint put together for you to make this a little more fun to learn. Okay. So activating your stem cells. What's the most important thing is there's a lot of things you're going to feel with this. And I'm just going to go ahead and just say it right now. You're going to get more energy. It's going to help you with your inflammation, your sleep, wound healing, scars that you have. It helps to remodel those, the way that you're performing sports performance and recovery, hair, skin, all kinds of stuff, right? So the reason, again, I'm doing this in such detail is because that sounds kind of like a wonder drug, and it's hard to believe. but it's true because your body is quite a miracle. And what this is doing is actually stimulating a part of the environment of your body in such a way that it acts in this amazing youthful way and triggers all kinds of things. So there's a few concepts I want to talk about. One of them is just called epigenetics in general, and it really just means that there is an environment around your cells, around every cell in your body, just like the environment of you in your world. And the things in your world affect how you are. So even just think of relationships and your job and so on. That has an effect on you. It has an effect on your mindset, which then also has an effect on your body. And so around the cells, the environment around the cells dictates largely how the cell is going to act. And that's influenced by the foods that we eat, the stuff in our food that we shouldn't be eating, the foods we're not eating, junk foods, of course, toxicity from the environment, from air, from water, from the sodas and stuff, just all that kind of stuff. But then also there's microbes and bacteria and viruses and fungus and molds and like all kinds of assault that comes. And we're supposed to have the battlefield set with soldiers to handle this, but we're breaking down. We're just breaking down, and we're feeling the ill effects of that. And mindset's really important. Just understand that the way that you think also creates hormones and feelings that change those hormones that kind of fire through, and peptides through your body, and they dock on your cells and they tell your cells how to act. And why this is important is because all of that messaging, all of that signaling is signaling what are called genes. And your genes, which I'm sure you've heard of, we have thousands and thousands of genes. I don't know how many, I wish I did, I'll look that up. But basically they are little switching stations of potentiality. Okay, you have a highest potential, and there's actually very, very few, less than 10 diseases that are truly genetic that you cannot do anything about. The rest of them is settings of genes that can be changed and altered in some way. It doesn't mean you don't have a predisposition because of your family and all of that stuff. You certainly can, but there is a lot more that you can do than you may realize. And so that's an exciting thing. And so these genes get switched on and off. And as I go right into talking about stem cells and what they are and why it's important, these genes have a lot to do with it. Okay, so are you with me still? I'm hoping you are. So we're first going to talk about stem cells themselves. What are they? Stem cells have built your body. They are cells that either replicate themselves or they change into other cell types. And that's the fancy word for that is differentiation. Okay, so they start as just a nice blank cell, and then they become things: blood cells, nerve cells, liver cells, intestinal cells, muscle cells, cardiac cells. And then they further differentiate into organs and systems, and they make your body. And how do they do that? Once they differentiate, they replicate themselves, and then they differentiate further, and then they replicate again. Okay, so at the age of 20, your body's pretty much built. And so what's happening at this point is we have, I'm gonna get my cheat sheet, a teenager, let's just say a teenager whose body has been built, they're done growing, things are, all supposed to be optimal with, we won't talk about the assault of course, our lifestyles, but in a perfect world, a teenager has approximately 1 billion circulating activated adult stem cells. 1 billion. By age 30, the number has dropped to 400 million. That is huge. Just from a teenager to age 30, it's a 60% reduction. Okay, and then by age 50, my age now, 75% reduction, down to only 250 million circulating stem cells. Now, why, before I even tell you how much worse it gets, why do we have circulating stem cells if we've already differentiated into our body? Well, your cells now, your body cells, are going to just continue to divide and divide and divide. And as we get assaulted with foods and so on, the aging process is that each time that they divide, they're not dividing as robust and healthy as they were before. And so you would think that they would divide and be young and fresh, but they're not. They're getting worse and worse. And there's only so many times that a cell can divide. That's called the Hayflick limit. And that's measured by telomeres. And in fact, I've got this cute little thing that can kind of show you what a telomere is. A telomere is basically the tips of your chromosomes. If this were a chromosome, This is really small. I should be showing it a little bit closer. If you can see the little box picture. This is my little fake little chromosome. And this is housed in the nucleus of your cell. Let's say you have a stem cell, which you're pretty much any cell outside of your blood cells, that is going to divide. Every time it divides, the telomere, the tip of the chromosome, shortens. And as it shortens, of course, by the time this is a perfect telomere. This is, if you were born, it should be like this, where you have this little end cap that gets shorter as you divide that cell. And when you divide enough times, it gets to the end, it gets a little bit shorter, and then a little bit shorter still. And then by the end, you've got all of this fraying. And what's happening with this fraying is we're losing the DNA. The DNA is now becoming unwound and the cell is not operating as well. And so when we lose this DNA, bad things happen, okay? So you would think we were born with this, but actually just in childbirth alone, you're losing a whole bunch of that and you're already down this far. As we get to middle age, we're starting to get to where the cell starts to really lose function and basically your stem cells become dormant. So even though they're supposed to be replicating and so on, they start to malfunction and this shortening happens at an accelerated rate. It's called accelerated telomere shortening. And that happens because again, we're dirty air, dirty water, stress, we're in fight or flight all the time. We have constant cortisol, stress hormones coursing through our veins. And there's all of these things are contributing to the stem cell dying faster or becoming dormant faster. And so by age 60, it's dropped down to 100 million from a billion, you guys. And that's a 90% reduction. And then from there, when you're 80, this one says 90. No, it's 80. At 80, it's dropped to 50 million, which is a 95% reduction. Okay, so what happens now? These circulating stem cells, since your body's already built, are supposed to be there to heal your wounds, to go and repair damage. And they are attracted to inflammation, right? You hurt yourself, your blood cells start to, your white blood cells and your immune system goes to work and you get the swelling and then different, inflammation. And then your stem cells are signaled to go over there and heal it, or you get a cut or whatever. And so that's how it's supposed to work. But when you have nothing, your stem cells are dormant and you have so few even circulating, can you see where the problem lies? This is why a baby can heal very easily and a child can heal very easily. And as we get older, we don't. And we really see that in a lot of ways, internally and externally. So I'm hoping that you're really following this, this train. Because I'm thinking, I woke up this morning, I don't sleep sometimes just because I want to figure out how I can teach this better and better for you to understand kind of that picture right there, because it's really important. So we have too few of these stem cells to go about healing the body. They are, again, going to replicate or they're going to differentiate into something else. And we're not signaling enough to get more. We have no energy in the cell, the mitochondria, in all of this process of the telomere shortening and all the gunk building up and the poor signaling of the genes. The mitochondria, it's called mitochondrial dysfunction, is not pumping out the energy, the ATP, which is really your lifeblood, right? And so the voltage of the cells are kind of dormant and we have no energy and we're not healing, and these stem cells are like, oh, they're just not going to work. So how do we fix this? Well, I'm sure you've heard of stem cell injections. People are all excited. It's all the rage in regenerative medicine. And it is, I wouldn't say all the rage. It is definitely in the right direction. It's just a little bit on the pricey side. It's $3,000 to $13,000 per injection. But what they're doing is let's say somebody hurts their knee, they are injecting stem cells, hopefully younger, healthier stem cells, or sometimes they take them out of your own body and they manipulate them a little bit and then they proliferate them. So you have more, because they divide in a dish or something. And all these processes take time and money, but then they re-inject them into the body wherever the inflammation is, or where the wound is, or where maybe you're bone on bone, you have arthritis, or in the spine. This is very common. And the idea is that those stem cells are going to go to work on regeneration and healing. And by adding that, it's going to lower the swelling, and your stem cells are going to do what they're supposed to do, because they weren't mobilized there in the first place. We got to put them there. and you don't have enough, so we got to put them there. But can you see it's not systemic? It's not doing something all over the whole body. And we don't know if your other parts of your body are needing stem cells right now to repair because they're degenerating. We're just going where the pain is, right? Or wherever we think it's going to be. Now, what you should know is that at best, 30% increase in stem cell activity when you do that, when you inject that. Now, that's when you have a relative, a younger relative with healthy stem cells that your body does not reject. Mind you, there are lots of things that can go sideways when you're injecting these biologics, but some people have great success. You just don't know. But at best, 30% increase in activity. And again, activity being proliferation and movement to the site where it needs to go. So, you know, that's pretty expensive for 30%. Now let's talk about our patch here real quickly. Well, just briefly, and I'm gonna go back to this slide. This patch does something so cool with your body that your body actually increases stem cell activity by not 30%, 30 to 40% in the first 2 days, okay? 2 days, but actually peaks up at 2100%, 2100% increase in stem cell activity. And you're gonna see how that's working in just a minute. And is that not exciting? That is so exciting. And that is systemic, not just local. So I want you to really get that. Now, one thing I do want to also show you, which is really interesting, is back in 2007, which you'll see on the screen, is they discovered that you could actually take a biopsy of the skin and reprogram, manipulate those skin cells to actually revert. They're actually induced to become induced pluripotent stem cells. A pluripotent stem cell is that baby stem cell that has not differentiated yet. So you can call it a universal stem cell also, kind of interchangeable words. So they figured you could do this. Now, again, you have to take it out and then you manipulate it and then you got to proliferate it, grow a whole bunch of it and then re-inject it. This is slow, pricey, and can be dangerous because if it's not done, they've found that this can actually induce tumor growth as well because we're messing with nature here. So if we can do this in a petri dish, if we can, you know, if the body is meant to do this, then it means that there's something we can change in the environment that your body should be able to do this on its own. Would you agree? I definitely think so. And we've discovered a way to do that. So keep this in mind because I'm going to share later something really cool about that. Okay. So let's talk about this technology. First of all, again, the patch is called X39. The company is LifeWave, L-I-F-E-W-A-V-E. The company is 15 years old and they manufacture in Galway, Ireland, or in Ireland. I'm not sure if it's Galway, but in Ireland. And they also manufacture in San Diego, California. This patch came out in early, it was in January 2019. And the company, 15-year-old company, has tripled in size just since this patch came out. That is how effective it is. Now, just so you know, being 15 years old, there are a number of other patches that are fabulous. And two that I do want to highlight tonight, given the circumstances that we're in right now, the assaults that we have coming at us from a virus standpoint. I'm not here to talk about any coronavirus or any of the other specific viruses. By the way, coronavirus is also kind of cold. It's a common virus. There's just different strains of it. And we're clearly right now at war with this one. I'm not here to talk about this doing anything specific about that. Okay, this is not, we're total disclaimer here. This does not heal, treat, or cure any disease. Your body is the miracle. And I don't know how this is going to show up in your body. And I do want you to know that you know, it's important to arm yourself in every way that you can. And I'm hoping that if you look at disease or any dis-ease that you have in your body or in your mind that you might be dealing with right now, look at the causal point of it. Don't necessarily just look at the symptoms of how it's showing up in the end, but what causes it. Do a little Google searching. You know, while we're all homebound here for a little while, there's some time to dig in and learn a little bit more about what is at the core of the dis-ease that you might have, so that you can really understand, is it an inflammatory issue? Is it just chronic inflammation? Am I a stress case? You know, do I need to do something about my thinking to lower my cortisol? Could I meditate? You know, there's a lot of things that you can do to really mitigate some of the ways that the environment inside your body and outside of your body are affecting your gene expression, and again, how your cells are acting. So just keep that in mind as you listen to the things that I go through here today. And then also, you know, I'll just share those other two patches. So the other patches are fantastic, but not necessary. I start everybody on this patch because it does so much. It was 10 years in the making, $5 million, $4 or $5 million in the making. It has over 20 patents already. Of all of the patches, there's over 100 patents. I mean, this guy's a serious scientist and he has patented this technology heavily. And also, gosh, what else was I going to say about that? Oh, 84 studies now published, not all published, excuse me, 84 studies, and some are, you know, in process right now. And just so you know too, this one has 8 studies at this point, this patch, and some of them are ongoing. Some are that were pilots are now being done double-blind, placebo-controlled. Some are in for publication. So we don't have access to all 8 of them, but we have some incredible data. And there's lots on what this is inducing in the body. So how does this work? Let's just go ahead and get into this. This is a phototherapy patch. This is not a transdermal patch. It's not putting anything into your body except for low levels of light. Okay, so nothing going into your body. What you do is you apply this patch to a specific point on the body, such as an area of pain if you want, but really any spot on the body works fine. The 2 that we do for all of our studies are at the base of the neck and just below the belly button. There's nerve bundles in these areas, and we just find them to be a good standard place to place them. And we did, again, all of our studies are in those 2 spots. Just one patch. You can wear more than one if you want to, but really just one patch. You're not going to get a whole lot more from 2. Probably maybe 20 or 30% more with a second patch, which can be impactful if you really want to, you know, get things rolling fast. But, you know, again, in essence of saving money, all of our studies are done with just one patch. You wear it for 12 hours on, and then you take it off and throw it away. 12 hours rest. I say do it with the sun. It's just like when you go out in the sun and your body is, you know, soaks up those rays, and those certain rays will stimulate that your body makes vitamin D. This will stimulate your body over the 12 hours, and you want to rest the body afterwards. So wear it in the morning until nighttime, and then take it off and sleep in the dark without it. Okay, and it's okay if it goes on longer, but it shouldn't be. It really, you don't want to overstimulate it. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to put more of anything. It just might, you really want the body to rest so it doesn't get, it's called attenuation. You don't want it to get used to it. So that's all you would do with it. 12 hours on, 12 hours off, and then a fresh patch the next day. That said, if it does keep you awake because it gives you so much energy, I mean, if you start to feel sleepy when you first put it on, your body might want to go straight into some serious recovery and want to sleep. And in that case, I just say you'll feel that within minutes. You just take it off and wear it at night in the beginning for a little while until you feel balanced out, and then you can switch to the morning. Some people, it's very, very, very powerful. They'll feel a zinger, or they might feel even just like, whoa, wow, I can feel this. Now, if that's the case, and if it feels like a little bit too much, or if you start to have any kind of like, I mean, this is so powerful. If you have any kind of discomfort at all, which most people don't, you can just wear it for a little bit of time, and then just increase the time each day that you wear it. You can just take half the backing off and wear it for a few hours, and then take the other half of the backing off and wear it for a few hours the next day, and just work your way up. It just depends. Everybody's body's different, but most people can tolerate it just fine. And it's a good thing. If you feel that kind of a zinger, it means your body is waking up fast. It wants to get to work. And so lots and lots of water. So I just want to say that's basics on how you wear it. What it's happening is it's activated by your body heat, and the patch reflects wavelengths of light in the infrared and visible spectra back to the skin. So the body heat gets trapped inside of this little device, which is literally a class 1 medical device like a Band-Aid. And it has these organic crystals in the middle, which you can't really see, but they're in there. And it just reflects back to the skin. And the very specific, these crystals are not just crystals that, you know, you're just picking up off the ground. It took 10 years to get the very specific wavelength to do what this does. Just like I said, the sun has your body, you know, wanting to produce vitamin D. This one has you produce a peptide. The use of specific wavelengths of light into the surface of the skin stimulates nerves, which in turn elicit a biochemical response from the body. And this is known as photobiomodulation, and it's the basis of phototherapy, and that's what this is. It's a regenerative technology. This is not food. Again, it's not a transdermal. And I love that because people are not resistant to trying something like this that is completely safe, non-toxic for any age. And it's fantastic. The other patches work in a different way on acupuncture points. They move energy through the body in a different way. This is just stimulating that this particular magical peptide gets produced in your body. And this peptide changes the environment very quickly around your cells, and they start doing some really cool things. So let's talk about some of these benefits that you can expect. Number one, like unlike the other LifeWave patches, this one elevates this naturally occurring compound in the body that normally declines with age. In fact, when I was telling you those statistics of the circulating stem cells going down, they are going down at the exact same rate as this peptide. And this peptide is called GHK, copper peptide, GHK-Cu. But the similarities of this and the other patches, and right there, it's just a phototherapy patch. This one is so completely different. It's the first patch that elevates that peptide I told you, GHK, copper peptide. And quite frankly, this peptide, they could not, nobody had figured out how to elevate it in the body. You can't ingest it. It's very short acting. You can use it on the skin. And so it's been used in skincare and fancy expensive lotions and potions for its anti-aging effects. And you'll see what those are about. But to be able to stimulate this peptide naturally in the body with light, whew, wait till you see these benefits. The first immediate effect people using this patch will experience through this elevation of this peptide, antioxidants that are elevated. And in particular, glutathione is one of them. And glutathione, and there's others too, but glutathione in particular is a big one. It's our master antioxidant. Very important to have that intracellular increase with that. You'll also notice an immediate decrease in inflammation. Now, again, we're talking about inflammation. It's balancing inflammation. We actually need inflammation in the body, but we have such an upset in how much bad inflammation we have. There's too many genes being switched to the wrong way that are creating inflammation intracellular on the out and all around in our organs, and it's causing havoc. And in fact, most diseases are at the foundation from this chronic inflammation. So we're getting a switching of those genes back into a ratio that's this inflammation response becomes more balanced, which is super cool. And for most people, it's just flat out decrease in inflammation. So this can be incredible for people with chronic issues that are based in inflammation. And they are, like I said, very many. I'm not going to go into any disease specific. So that's number one. And then number two, more energy, of course. So let me just tell you one of the things that this is doing. I might move the slides around and share it, put this one in the front because it's so important to understand. This is doing a couple of things. This peptide, when the peptide's elevated in the body, the main thing that's happening is 4,100 genes that are inside of your chromosomes that are malfunctioning right now inside here, right? This is your chromosome. They're in there. They get reset, upregulated, downregulated, reset, almost like a reboot to a younger, healthier state. 4,100. And just to put this in perspective, there's two resveratrol. We all hear resveratrol is an amazing antioxidant, and you know, drink your red wine, you know, get that in there. And the thing is that there's two genes in there. There's two reset genes, two that set to a younger state. They're longevity genes. They are specific to longevity. And those two genes being switched off are so impactful that they're literally putting resveratrol in everything, right? You know, in little vitamin packets and so on. And we know it's important. I'm talking about 4,100 reset to like back to young. What? And so what happens is your mitochondria suddenly has energy. You have voltage again in your cells. And so your mitochondria, the factory that's pumping out your ATP and your energy, comes up and it starts to do this. And that's one of the first things that people feel. Again, sometimes you might feel a little tired. It's rare, but sometimes that'll happen and you might just like want to go take a nap. Go do it if you can, if you have the time to do it right then. Otherwise, wear it at night. Because your body wants to go straight into repair and healing. And it's pretty exciting if that happens. But many, many people will notice their very first day that they're less tired and fatigued. And I will say that this is a sustainable, beautiful energy. It's not like a wig out kind of an energy. It's really, really, really nice. So I hope that that's something that would excite you. So that energy is systemic, but we also just feel it in our wakefulness and in our focus and so on. It's beautiful. The next thing is better sleep. And I'll tell you, I definitely felt the better energy. That was huge for me. And then better sleep was also a really big deal for me. And I'm just sharing my personal testimonies here because I can. I'm being very, very compliant right now. This is an important time to be compliant. So I won't open this up with testimonials live, but we have tons on that website I gave you, including all the research. And again, shorter videos and videos that go through this very succinctly. I just, again, wanted to add this teaching. So better sleep is a huge deal for many people because recovery happens in sleep. And so the duration of sleep, people are noticing an increase in that duration and also in the depth of the sleep. They're getting more quality deep sleep. Some people notice dreaming, and that really tells you you're sleeping deeply because you're getting into the theta dream state. And certainly delta is where the deep recovery is happening. Important hormones are being released in that deep sleep. And many people just don't get to that. And so again, they're not recovering well and they're degenerating and accelerating, you know, their cells turning over and not working so well. So an improvement in the quality of sleep, what would that do for you? For me, it was huge. 5.5 hours, 6 hours, maybe 6.5 if I, you know, regularly. I wear a Fitbit, and this was my story, you know, for years. You just track it on my phone. You could see very little sleep, very little sleep. I tried everything. And I figured, oh, I guess this is just the way it is for me. Well, I put this patch on day 3 for me, or was it the second night? So I'm saying day, but the second night, 8 hours. The next night, 8 hours, 8.5 hours, like literally for 2 weeks, it was 8 hours or more every single night. I couldn't believe it. And and I was tracking it. You could see it on my thing and I could feel it. My whole body was just like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for that sleep. And then I balanced out right around 7.5 hours. And right now with everything that's happening, my mind is just like, what can I do? What can I do? How can I help? So I have a bit of an overactive mind, as you can imagine by the way I'm talking too. So the next thing is pain relief. I didn't have any pain, so I don't have a personal testimony on this. However, I have patched many people and know many people, and there's lots of testimonials about this. And so the pain relieving benefits of X39 have to be experienced to be believed. Most people notice a reduction in pain within minutes of application. Now, again, this is not for, it's going to show up different for every person. You might want that pain to go away really, really badly, but your pancreas needs help first. Your stem cells are going to go where your body needs them. They're going to be attracted to that spot, and that's where they're going to go. So keep that in mind. Some people will also get a slight increase in inflammation around, might get a slight increase in inflammation, which is part of the healing process. So you'll get the systemic inflammation in check probably right away. But then if you feel all of a sudden that, you know, that carpal tunnel is getting a little bit aggravated, get excited again, because it's probably going to work on that right now. Okay. And your body's starting to work the way it's supposed to. Just drink more water, rest, get good nutrition, and you will be fine and better in no time. So pain that's been sticking around for a long time, people are noticing some changes. This one got me excited again, just because I want to live super long and I'd like to look young as long as possible. It's vanity, but whatever. If wrinkle reduction is going to happen, I'm all over that because I don't really want to do any injections or any of that stuff. So activating stem cells leads to an increase in collagen. Now that's the key thing here. Collagen is the most abundant protein in your body, and it's building more than just your skin. It's building all kinds of stuff. And, you know, people are, again, having issues with bone on bone and, you know, with arthritis and all kinds of things. And, you know, what's the basis of that? And so collagen is really cool. And 4 to 12 weeks, people are noticing this on the outside, but again, it's going on throughout the body. So it's something to be excited about with that collagen production. It does take a little bit more time. This is why I always recommend at least 90 days to get started on this product. Give it a chance, at least give your cells one turnover with GHK copper peptide active in your body and see what happens. Now, it takes longer for whole organs to turn over completely and be new. It takes 7 years for your whole body to completely turn over and be new and fresh. So, you know, again, this is just built in, non-negotiable for me. It's a forever thing for me. And you can decide how long you want that to be working in your body as well. But 90 days is a good try. And we expect that people are going to have results so quickly because we see it. In fact, I would say 60 to 70% of people feel this within their first week on multiple levels sometimes, often. I mean, hello, we take vitamins and nobody feels anything with vitamins, but we do it because we already like know deep down from our education that it's just something that we do, right? Vitamins and minerals. uh, this you actually feel. You actually feel, and you feel it really fast. They still give you 30-day money back guarantee if you don't love the product. So even if you buy a 3-month supply, if you just open 1 month's worth and you start using it and you change your mind, or you just don't absolutely love it, then you can get your money back and send back those last ones. So good to know. Sports performance, this is huge. You know, if you remember those statistics of how much our stem cell activity goes down as we get older, holy moly, talk about amping up that energy again. So when you have this improved energy, you're talking about better performance in anything you do, weekend warrior, pickleball, like whatever, any kind of sports. And when you're young as well, because they're getting pretty weighed down by not being very active and eating a lot of crap, quite frankly. So this is a really big deal for sports performance. We have tons of athletes that love this product. And for people, again, over the age of 50, they are feeling more fit than they did in their 20s. And I would agree with that myself. I mean, I have more energy and vitality, but the recovery is so cool when you have all of this stem cell activity. And I'm going to tell you right now, the secret with that, because the other thing this does besides turning on or like resetting all these genes, which is huge, is when that happens, so talking about recovery is what reminded me of this. What's happening is as your cells wake up, your stem cells wake up, and you don't have enough circulating, you know, first of all, they're going to go to work where they're attracted to go to work. But then after they go off to where they're going, if you're because you have all this new signaling that's happening, okay, everything can actually act normal again, or at least a heck of a lot better. If your body doesn't have enough circulating stem cells to recover an injury or something is going on in your body, oh, this is the coolest thing. It actually signals your body to produce more stem cells. So it's resetting stem cells, it's mobilizing them or mobilizing them to where they need to go. And if you don't have enough, if you remember that slide with the skin and the biopsy, GHK copper peptide tells your skin to revert back into pluripotent stem cells, into those universal stem cells. So you're producing more stem cells from your own skin that can become anything in your body. Ah, mind blowing. You don't have to take anything out of your body and manipulate it and put it back in your body. It knows how to do it itself. How cool. So that's where recovery reminded me to tell you that. That is an amazing thing that this product facilitates. Okay, the other thing is new hair growth. This is a big deal. You know, people are injecting all kinds of things besides stem cells. They're using exosomes, which are these little minuscule little signaling molecules that go in and out of the cell, which again, when you have poor mitochondrial function and gunk around your cells, the signaling is way off, right? And we see premature balding and thinning hair and all kinds of stuff, nails not growing. And so when the signaling all starts to kind of kick up, I wish we had a study to show more exosomes too. Hair growth is one of those things that is likely to happen. And now we can't guarantee it's going to happen for everyone. I know there's a couple of other factors involved in this. However, it's very common. And this is the reason why it even says here, clinical research has shown that activating stem cells in the scalp leads to hair growth. We just haven't tested it with this patch yet. So, but it's definitely something that they will be looking at. And that happened for me, tons of new hair growth in here. So really excited. Like I have pictures, I should probably put it in here, of like this whole new hair growth at 3 weeks. That was like this like short hair all in my temples, which was just kind of thin. And now that it's all grown in, when I wear my hair back, it doesn't look like all, you know, anyway, pretty cool. Scar removal is another really cool thing. Doesn't matter how long you've had the scar, it's the last stage of healing. And quite frankly, most people don't have enough stem cells circulating in their body to complete that process. And even when I was young and when I was 6 years old, I got bit by a dog and I had a scar right here on the bottom of my lip. Even that has remodeled. It's still there, but it's like just a thin line now and the color's back. It's not like white and kind of hard anymore or misshapen. Softens, even if you have big ropey scars from surgeries, if you have scar tissue in the body, it's going to complete that healing process for you from the scars. So it's called remodeling, and it's just super cool. And even the old scars, it's so cool to watch. And then not the last, but another really big thing that stem cells are all about is wound healing. Clinical research has proven that elevation of this compound, the GHK and GHK copper elevate the production of growth factors. That's what I was talking about. That's why people put these things in their body. They need the growth factors that lead to dramatic increase in wound healing. And we're talking 3 times as fast. So if you have a wound, or if you have a diabetic ulcer or something like that, I'm not disease specific here, but when talking about wound healing, you can place this patch near the wound if you want to get that happening right there. I mean, of course, it's going to be systemic, but you know, I love the added placebo effect. Who knows? But if you put it near the wound, not on top of it, it's not a Band-Aid for it. That's important to know. It's, yeah, because there are allograft patches that people can use on open wounds like that, but this is not that. But put it nearby and see what happens with that wound healing. My daughter just broke her wrist a couple of weeks ago. Just a little crack, first time she's ever broken anything, and she was snowboarding, and I just brought her in yesterday to get the cast. It had been a week and a half already. And they already saw the white, you know, the tissue coming back together. And they're like, yeah, I think we could probably put this cast on for 2 weeks. Like super fast healing. So that's pretty cool. Youth renewal. This compound's been proven in clinical research to rewrite thousands of genes. I already told you about this in the DNA to a younger state. And yes, this does get better, even better and better and better over time. And imagine, this is, to me, this is age reversal. If you are reversing, you know, rewriting these genes so that everything's acting young again, that's age reversal, right? So that starts to really, really show up. And that's something that I've definitely been watching and having a good time, enjoying watching. Time is it? Okay, I'm going to wrap up here. There's last 2 things here. This is a new study. It was a pilot study, but it was so impressive that they presented it at the last conference, and they are doing a double-blind placebo-controlled study because of this. And I invite you to look at the study of the brain mapping that they did on this study. It's fantastic. Imagine right now, what is the scariest stuff that's happening in the world right now is fear. Fear and fight or flight, and like, I mean, we'll get through it, you know, but when your brain is programmed to go towards fear, and most people are, it's called the sympathetic nervous system versus the calm parasympathetic nervous system, which is again why meditation is so wonderful. You want to balance that out. This difference in the lack of coherence in our thinking, our brains are just like all over the place. It's a mess. This study is showing with X39, and not in a long time at all, restored not only cognitive brain function in terms of like memory recall and all kinds of speed, all these things, but also a coherence. It calms the brain. It's almost like it balances out the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And another one of our patches that has a study behind that does that is called EON. And that was one of the ones that I was going to talk about. The EON patch, AEON, is specifically anti-inflammatory and works on that, and they noticed this remarkable shift in the brain. So it works beautifully with X39 if you really have that kind of a, you know, overactive brain. But start with X39 always first. It's just good to know that we do have this other tool when it comes to inflammation and the brain. So really exciting about this. And again, your brain makes up your body, you guys. If you don't have good thinking thoughts, that influences how your genes are being expressed. So when that's balancing not only the environment of your cells and the chemical environment, it's also your neurochemicals and how you're thinking that is bathing your body in calmer, more balanced thinking. And that gives you, keeps you from narrowing your focus and not being able to see possibilities. You know, when you're stressed out, your eyes just, they focus just on what's in front of you, and you don't see the possibilities that are other possibilities. You just like hyper focus. And this, again, it's chronic. People live in that all the time. This is really a priceless thing to be able to, you know, mitigate a bit with this patch. And then the last study, which is the one, it's out for publication right now. In fact, it's not available on the website right now, but I can tell you, and I'm going to pull up just a couple of things that I do want to read to wrap up the science of this thing, and then I can tell you how to get started. Let me just minimize this and pull this up. This study, Dr. Melinda Connor's double-blind placebo-controlled urine study and then pilot blood study both showed that this copper peptide, or this GHK, is the precursor which goes up, and then GHK copper peptide, which has an affinity for copper. You want to have copper in your body. It is important, and taking a supplement of 2 to 4 milligrams a day is a good thing to do. It is not too much. I know there's a lot of fear out there that we have a whole webinar on it. Okay, so whoever invited you here can get you the webinar from our LifeWave YouTube page, talking all about copper and why you want to have that in your body. Nonetheless, GHK copper peptide is elevated. Both of these are elevated and proven in this, which has been proven to activate stem cells, so mobilizing them and reset them to a younger, healthier state and make more, again, as needed. It's not going to just pump out more that you don't need. You're not injecting a whole bunch and hoping it takes. 2,100% increase in that activity. It's huge, you guys. And I'm going to just read a little tiny bit more about that study because I think it's important to know. Let me get to it. Where is it? This is in a book called The Story of X39. This is worth a read. It's worth printing out, and it's good to have on hand. It's just fascinating to really understand this technology. And so this particular study, the metabolic outcomes of this study, of the urine one, which is of course the one that was not the pilot, is that, so the amino acids and neurotransmitters play a critical role in health and well-being. If an individual's amino acid and neurotransmitter, remember the brain, if the production is broken, the individual cannot maintain body health for long. So here's what we notice going up. I'm just going to list real quickly: epinephrine, GABA, which is part of the sleep, histamine, I can't read that one, or that one, bunch of good stuff, but a number of amino acids that also went up: cysteine, glutamine, lysine, leucine, tryptophan. Now, these things are, okay, and these things are involved in glutathione formation. Glutathione, again, the master antioxidant, really important right now to clean out our cells of the salts that we have. Intestinal repair, immune function, that's the lysine, that's an important piece. Muscle repair from damaged tissue, we want to be strong. Involved in sleep, the tryptophan is involved in sleep, so is the GABA. Markers for response to stress, that's the epinephrine. Measure of adrenal glands, that's the one I couldn't read. It was one for an indicator of mood and cognition. That's something I notice a lot, that people's moods just balance out. They're less triggered. And then the other one I couldn't read was the indicator for the GABA synthesis, which is a precursor to melatonin. So again, part of that sleep and recovery and rejuvenation. How cool. And then a heart rate variability. Statistical significance was achieved in demonstrating that X39 helps to support the health of the heart. You guys, it's like, ah. And again, I hope you are appreciating that I'm going deep into this, because again, any one thing like this, it's so non-invasive and so affordable. By the way, the price of a cup of coffee a day, like, even I could literally say less than $100 a month, can do all of this. I want you to see why, because that's important. Otherwise, it sounds like snake oil. It's an incredible regenerative technology. The summary, the last summary of this, the data from just that study: improvement in blood pressure and overall health of the heart, 17 statistically significant amino acid changes. Your body produces, your genes are producing amino acids for your body. Over just the 7 days of this study, 17 statistically significant amino acid changes. Key neurotransmitters involved in overall health, improvement in sleep levels, improvement in short-term memory, and in reportings of feelings of overall health and vitality, which, believe me, you definitely will feel. So lots and lots of testimonials. If you just need to hear the personal testimonials, go to startx39.com and you will see the link for the testimonials. You'll see the link for all the research on GHK and GHK copper peptide, and you'll see some, condensed versions of that. We can send you this 20 or 52-page document. And also you'll see there just the basics. Why is this important to you? Watch this little thing of how the technology works. And here's the problem. And then here's the 18-minute video. It's all there. So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and share that with people that you care about, because I'm going to share with you now how you can get started. And there's two main ways to get started. You can get started as a customer, or you can get started as a distributor. And as a distributor, really, you can just be a wholesale distributor for yourself and your family, and just be able to buy it, in bulk for, in quantity, or in bulk for less money. Or you can take advantage of the network marketing model to build residual income if you want. Or you can also, as a distributor, just wholesale and retail it straight from a store. course, right now, I think a lot of stores are going to be closed, so you might just take advantage of having it sent directly from the company to the customer. And plus, that way, it is backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So that's the kind of the difference between just buying it as a customer and buying it in wholesale. Now, if you decide to buy it as a customer, there's two ways to do it. It's either $149 for a month's supply. That's retail. I never buy retail, and I never recommend that you do. However, I do have a couple people that just want 1 month's worth, and that's it. And they're willing to pay that amount. It's certainly worth 3 times that amount for what it can do. The way that if you just want to be a customer, you can also come in as a preferred customer, which is a customer on auto ship for a minimum of 3 months. So again, 3 months is perfect, and that's going to give you that 90 days to give it a real go. Again, I say go longer if you can, because it just gets better and better. And we're seeing that in the research, the ongoing research at 6 months, and now we're approaching a year. So definitely worth just giving a real true go if you want to. But that auto ship price is only $99.95. Which is fantastic. And we have a customer program with that I'll tell you about in just a second that can even bring it lower, because if you refer just a few other people to become a preferred customer like you, then 3 people in a month, then you can get a free sleeve. A sleeve is a month's supply of the X39 sent to you for free. So great deal to spread the word without participating necessarily in the model of becoming a wholesaler. If you decide you want to be a wholesaler, or a distributor and actually build this, I saw this immediately, with all of my decades, a couple of decades being in this field and wanting to help raise people's energy and, help them step into a bigger life for themselves and feel good and health and all this stuff. I immediately saw the opportunity. I already felt like I didn't even know if I was going to feel the product. I had no idea I was going to have so many amazing results with it, but I went for the big pack. And you'll see here on this document, it says diamond. That's 19 sleeves for the price of 16. This is the cheapest that you can buy it, is $84 for a month's supply. And I stocked up on it, not only for me and my family, but because I knew I was going to sample it. Our team has an incredible sampling program and all the training that we could ever need. So as a wholesaler, you definitely will get the training you need to be able to manage even just your own account for you and your family, or just a few friends, or for if you want to build this thing all the way, like I will. But we have this great sampling program. We've got all everything is just so step-by-step and simple. It's amazing. We have the strongest team in the whole company, fastest growing team in the whole company. And it's exciting because this patch needs to get on everyone, that's really my driving force here for doing that. So I wanted to share that, but you can come in with 1 sleeve as a wholesaler, 3, 5, 12, or 19. And again, if you are looking to build the business with it, the 19 is probably the smartest move if you really want to go for it. And at this time, people need this message, and certainly we'll support you with that. But I don't want anyone to spend more than is comfortable. And given the economic times, I want to just take another last moment here and share with you just again that even just if you want to participate as just a preferred customer, I don't mean just, it's perfect. You will find results, and so it's going to be hard to not talk about it. And so if you do refer 3 people back to your original distributor's website and just give them your number, which you would get when you order, then you will get credit for that. And if it's in a calendar month that you do 3, you will get a free sleeve. And there's more details. You can accumulate some over a couple of months, and all those details can be sent to you by your distributor. So that's how it works. And so the last step here is get back with the person who sent you here. Okay, and so that's a wrap, you guys. I hope that I'll go ahead and if you want to unmute yourself if you have any questions. If you guys are still here, I don't know who still is here, but if you do have any questions, let me know. Looks like this did record. And so
where will the recording be posted?
On this one, if I replace the one that I already have, which I might do, I think this one's a little bit more thorough, then you'll find it at sweetspotbreakthrough.com, BREAKTHROUGH. So sweetspotbreakthrough.com will always have my favorite replay so that you can utilize that at any time.
Thank you.
And Sam, you can be my guide if you think this is better than the last one.
Oh, I've really enjoyed this one. This is really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Let me turn off the record, and okay. Thank you guys for being here. I'm just going to turn off the record, and then I'll stay on the line.
It was great.